Hello, Tai Odunsi, inspirational educator and a four-talent industry insider. Give me a little bit about your background.
My background first started out as an illustrator and a cartoonist, and then I slowly sort of fell into doing graphic design for the apparel and fashion industry. And I was doing that for about 10 years, but during about the fifth or sixth year, I started exploring books and motivational tapes and wanting to expand myself as a creative person.
So you're an inspiration to us all then, at least that's what you want to be, right?
That's what I want to be, yeah. I'm out there motivating people, and I'm out there telling them, like, how can they live their best and their fullest creative life.
Yeah. And in your analysis of how best to do that, you've come up with a unique term that describes the kind of world we live in a competitive but yet necessarily collaborative way, especially as artists. Tell me about your book.
Yeah, it's definitely, as you say, it's more collaborative and it's more competitive, and that's the paradox. How do we compete in a more competitive and a collaborative world, because we all have to survive? And it's called collaboration. And it's this idea that we have to collaborate first, that is to say, collaborate with natural laws that I outline in the book to be competitive. And it's these laws that actually make us more creative.
And how might that apply to the world of the performing arts?
Right, in the world of performing arts, when you look at artists like Twyla Tharp or other high-achieving people, you can see that you can directly link their lives to a high level of being able to collaborate well with other people. I don't think you could actually take a case study where you won't find someone who is achieving on a high level who doesn't have the skills that I outlined in the book, and these sort of interpersonal as well as intrapersonal skills. And you will find that these skills are directly linked to the effects that they achieve.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest stumbling blocks for a lot of actors, I think, is that you compete with all those other people that are in the room with you waiting to audition, and yet you have to have a sense of family with those people, and very often that is a very natural thing. But how do you justify the feelings of competition with people that you feel as if they're your family members?
Yeah, that's actually a good question, and it again outlines that paradox. How do you get the sense of oneness, but at the same time you know that you have to compete? And I would say that you have to begin with the end in mind. I think if you know that these people are after the same pie, you have to understand that on some level, as was probably shown in the Obama campaign, he competed with a lot of people, but he also ended up hiring them after they lost. So there is a balance, and collaboration doesn't aim to have all the answers, and nor do I, but it does try to strike that balance, that harmony. I think there is a way to go into a room and know that you're competing with people, but still be at oneness with yourself and having an intention, an harmonic intention that people will see after the competition is over. And who knows, that may spring into something else.
And you're going to be writing a blog for Talent as well. Yes. What do you expect to be addressing in the blog?
I will be addressing I'll be presenting several of the principles in collaboration in a more anecdotal way, by also talking to people, as I said, who live the principles of effectiveness, who are able to use these principles in their lives, and to just illustrate through their story, as well as just me talking to the audience, but further illustrate through their story how personally they have transformed their lives through leading these principles. So I hope to be sort of distill these fundamental truths and sort of take this paradox and explain it, because we live in this 21st century of hyper-connectivity, hyper-collaborative, hyper-competitive. What do we do as creative people? How do we surge through?
Right. Well, I look forward to reading your entries. Thank you very much, Tai.
Thanks so much, Brad.